Holy moly, what an episode today. We spoke to my long distance but good friend, Shamena. She spoke about niche and identity and going for it unapologetically. That's such a hard word for me to say. She runs a business which she calls a kingdom business. She talks about connection over convenience in this and inclusion in a faith-forward co-working space. So if you are anywhere near any community of faith and anywhere near co-working, this is an episode for you. And also, I really need to draw to your attention that in our ever-present amazing show notes, there's a link to our in-person event. It's Unreasonable Connection, going live in London the last week of February. We have, which is a kind of combination of a wait list and a co-creation list, and we're inviting people to join this list, be part of a little community and talk about what the event needs to be like. And of course, we could do an event and know exactly what to do, but we want to create it with people who are in the London Co-working Assembly audience and the Co-working Values audience. So there's a link in the show notes to either join the link in the email for the Co-working Values podcast, or if you're on the London Co-working Assembly list, it's there too. So let's get into the show with Shamena. Hello, folks. It is my favorite Virginia co-working space on the line today from the Co-working Values podcast. Shamena, what are you known for, Shamena? This time, what are you known for, Shamena? And what would you like to be known for?
This time, oh my goodness. I think, Bernie, we just have to admit that I just keep building businesses to be on your podcast, like shamelessly. This time I am being known for my very unapologetic, faith forward space that is family focused, that is grounded in faith, that is grounded in my roots of being a proud Air Force veteran, as well as former federal employee that supported a law enforcement agency for the last 15 years of my life.
That's really good. That's what made me jump on here today, because I think you're niching down and niching down and niching down. And how many people live in Virginia or
Like
Alexandria,
15
which is
million.
your...
Oh, I don't know. Like by my last estimation, meaning I absolutely did not look at this. I think Alexandria has about 1 million. Well, I know Fairfax County has about 1 million people for sure.
Wow. So so part of my point here is I say this in London. There's actually more co-working seats in London than there are people, and that's not just the population. There's about 8 million people in London, and I've forgotten exactly how many people are what's classed as economically active, but it is like, millions. And then I don't want to misquote data here, but there's say for the purposes of moving along, there's like 100,000 chairs in co-working spaces. I don't know that is true, but there's always more people than there are seats, and people are always trying to be the same. But I think you will cut through the noise doing what you talked about. How did you end up with that little crossover?
Wait, Bernie. So because numbers matter, right? I just used my quick friend Google. In the city of Alexandria, as of 2024, there is 159,102 people, right? So that was 2024. So I used the county for the surrounded areas, but in the actual city where Cowo and Crèche is, there's about 160,000 people.
And if everyone sat down at the same time in your building, how many seats would that be?
In my space, I have 11,597 square feet, and the fire marshal tells me that I can have 338 people in here. So you know what? I like my odds.
Yeah, that's really. Are you talking about the event space or available?
I'm speaking about the event space.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
co-working. I think quite easily in regards to seats, we're good at 50.
Yep. So how has it been Can you talk about the congregation that come there every Sunday? And because I always feel that's like it's like hosting a party every weekend, guaranteed in your co-working space.
Oh my gosh, it's Club Jesus every single Sunday. It's absolutely Club Jesus here. So we have the honor and the privilege of hosting our church, the church that we belong to. We don't pastor our church. We have amazing pastors, Pastor Anthony Vaughn and Brenda Vaughn. And so they pastor our church, which is Celebration Church DC. And we get to host that, right? On Sunday mornings. We're in partnership with the church. So it's not just that the church is a client. The truth is, we partner on assets and in such a way that I mean, here's the secret. That's not a secret anymore. Obviously, we don't charge the church market rate, right? It's a partnership. So there are things that the church has put in there that we are allowed access to. I think that's I should. Am I okay? Yeah, I think it's okay to say that, right?
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, in regards to, but I don't think I don't want to gatekeep that, right? So for any other co-working spaces, I don't want to gatekeep this, right? Information. Who can you partner with? Whether it's a congregation, because if the space is just sitting there on a Sunday, no one wants to co-work, right? If you are open to have a faith organization come in, right? How can you all work together? So for us, that looks like lighting or access to using the screen or production things that they were able to put in, right? And then at the same time with us, we're able to give and partner with this great location, right? Premier parking, um, knowing that we care about the space, right? So we keep it safe in ways that are tangible and not tangible, right? And what I mean by that is we are very careful on who else we partner with, right? Because we do understand that church does happen here.
It's a values thing as well, isn't it? Because
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, that's. I wanted to interrupt there, but I'm trying better not to interrupt people because they they often say things way smarter than if I'd stayed where I was. But there's like the other point is I know lots of different, particularly Jewish, Christian, and Muslim are the people I know the most, and who have co-working spaces that are part of the congregation. There's loads of many different projects. There's Daryl who's been on this podcast. Darren, sorry, who's been on this podcast, who's from I think it's Austin, Texas, who who goes who helps churches set up co-working spaces because they're often in incredibly good central locations with loads and loads of real estate, and they don't know what to do with it anymore. And the story I tap into the most is people who are in any faith organization, but we're going to keep saying church in this place, and they originally started as the middle of the community. You know, like a lot of towns and cities grew up around. You know, someone would come in and why I'd open a cafe first, but often people built a church first, and then they and then they and everything grew up around that. So a lot of faith based organizations are looking for ways to reconnect with their community now that it's like, you know, I don't know the data, but you know, less people go to church and places like that nowadays. So there's
I
still a
don't think
role for
it's
those.
like less. I don't necessarily think it's less. I think so when we think about just where we are now, right? So the pandemic obviously created such a man, it's like an alternate universe, right? In a lot of ways. And so where it's not that they're necessarily less, whether it's you're Christian or because I'm just going to use Christian since that, that's my personal faith journey. making it accessible, right? After that, where now became very convenient for people to go to church, right? Online. So even still breaking people out of that comfort zone, right? That, okay, am I getting up in the morning, right? And getting dressed and going out where I can sort of like be a baptized, it's like a joke, right? A bedside Baptist, right? And be in my bed in my pajamas. I can get like my Bible out and then watch it on the television. Um, so it's almost this like reshaping and this rethinking of, no, well, this is community, right? Like it's I don't want to say reprogramming because that doesn't sound great, Bernie. So throw it's reconditioning people. It's saying, listen, the doors are open. This is more than just religion. This is relationship, right? And when you come together, whether it's co-working, whether it's church, whether it's your colleagues in the office, your sport club team, whatever it is, right? Like you can watch a football match, right? And when I say football, I mean proper football, soccer, right?
Soccer.
You,
Thank you. God,
of course,
you're
I
doing
respect.
really well. I thought you were going to lose it there. Keep going.
No, 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 no. I know the home I'm in. I know how to play to my host. So you can be there. I mean, like we love Barcelona, right? There's nothing like, so my husband does not miss a match, right? We're going to watch matches all the time, but let me tell you, there was nothing like seeing his face when I surprised him with tickets to go see a match, right? um in
Who was it?
person.
Who was it?
Oh, actually, okay, so the truth is we never got the chance to go see Messi play when he was in Barcelona, and I felt terrible
Oh,
about it. But when he went over to PSG, I did surprise my husband with tickets to a PSG match, and we flew to Paris like for the weekend to go see a match, and he was able to see Messi play, only to then have Messi come over to Miami, which I'm like, seriously, we plane tickets to Miami would have been cheaper, but I digress. But so him and I, we can be at home, right? And you can watch a match, and we have this wonderful big screen TV, and it could be an HD and all of the things. But there's nothing like being there in person with the crowd, um, with other spectators, right? So that's community. That's the soccer community. It's a vibe, right? And almost, the same thing with church, right? Not the same thing, but conversely, when we think about church, there is the convenience of, you can stream and you can come online, or you can listen to even church on a podcast, you can listen to a sermon or a message that way. But when you come in here, you feel it. It's the pulse, right? We would say for us as well, it's not about a vibe, it's about the Holy Spirit. But when you come into the space, if you've had a long week, the fact that now Cowo Crèche is this space that people can come into the doors, and now it's no longer necessarily just Cowo Crèche, it's Celebration Church. You're going to come in through the doors, whatever you had going on for the week, right? From Monday to Saturday, there's this sense of relief. You can hear the music, right? You can get a hug, you can feel encouraged, but even more so, it feels like home, right?
hmm
No one's kicking you out. That's what I love, right? That we're part of the congregation, my husband and I, but there's like not a time clock, right? Like, okay, y'all gotta go. Time is up, right? Um, yeah.
I would love that. There's you were saying about, so years ago in a youth project I worked on, me and my band of merry people, we put together. It was a year long project, and we put together a mass for 5,000 people, and we did the whole music and stuff, and to have 5,000 people singing along with you in any context is like really, really something.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a huge thing. So that, and Brené Brown talks about this in one of her books, where there's some Liverpool fans. I think it's Liverpool, whatever. That's not integral to the story, but Liverpool fans go to a match in Australia, and just everyone in the stadium in Australia is singing "You'll Never Walk Alone,"
Right.
and there's this like shared unity, which it would. As you were talking there, I've got loads of stories about how just there's always this promise of community on the internet, and like we've never met in person. We WhatsApp and chat and stuff like that, but it's not as the same as being in person. And as you were talking there, I hope this works when I say it out loud. There's like you can go to church at home on TV, which is the same as working from home and having Zoom calls, or you can get around a table and chat and look each other in the eye and connect. And the way you vibe with each other is completely different. And it's really important to have that. I think everyone listening to this
We have
podcast
to
would
say
agree.
it. I think we just have to say the thing, right? Like that's the elephant in the room. Connection is more important than convenience,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. That's not an elephant. That's like a. Why do you think that? Serious question. Why do you think that's an elephant in the room?
Because I think no one wants to step on people's toes, right? No one wants to say, oh, speak out against remote work because everyone's like, oh, it's so convenient. I need it. Listen, I get it. I'm a mom. Cowo Crèche was built on the fact that we, had remote work and I needed a place for my children. Um, so YouTube, right, wasn't raising them. You know what I mean? Love Miss Rachel, but I didn't want my kids to be raised by the television while I worked. And so, but it's convenient, right? It is convenient, right? Getting not listen, winter is coming. Right? And not just on Game of Thrones, right? Like winter
Yeah,
is
yeah.
coming.
Jon Snow.
It is cold here. Like we're not all blessed to be in sunny Spain, Bernie, right? So it's getting cold here. It's going to be like 50 degrees, which is cold, right, for us. But so January, right, when the snow hits and nobody wants to deal with traffic and you prefer to stay in bed, do you want to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to get ready and dress the children and yourself, get in the car, warm it up, deal with icy road conditions, maybe, or snow, or it seems terribly inconvenient, right? To go to church. And it's like, no, but like, when did church become convenient? Like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when is it just like, just even work? And so I think we've just put so much emphasis now on our convenience and self and my own convenience and my own comfort. And now connection is going like, if you had a priority listing, right? Connection is going down, down, down that list.
But it feels like we talk about connection and community more than ever, and maybe that's just because we're in the co-working industry. But there's the amount of times I see the word connect. I've just seen it on my screen here,
Mhm.
in another context. There's um, and there's something we're really enjoying at the moment is we our son has a computer, and we thought that, he's got a computer and he needs a computer for school and he likes to play games and stuff like this, but he's hardly ever in. He's like out skateboarding. He's just fallen in with a group of people who are always out at the skate park, or they're riding their bikes, or going to Taco Bell, which I don't really like, but they're out and doing stuff together, and also, there's a lot of outside stuff to do in this very small city, which is great, because when we first came here, he was still connected with his friends in London, and he is still connected with them. But the thing they did, 3 years ago when we came here, was play Fortnite, and he was never in the danger zone, but we were both worried that, oh dear, our child will just live in his room and never see other people. But everyone's like moving around, connected, seeing things, um, on the court, as we like to say.
Mhm.
Um, there was anything. So if someone was going to engage with a faith based community or something like that, like what would you? Uh, Seems a really obvious question. What do you wish you knew when you started out doing that? What that kind of question, but much more involved and sophisticated.
Right. I think you just need to know. So there's difference. So we're in partnership with our church, right?
Yep.
Which looks a bit different than like saying that they're a client. right? So I think it's establishing, what does that look like for you as owner or operator? Is this a partnership with the faith-based organization, or are they a client, right? That's a good sort of starting point. And then making sure that you do keep business, right? That nothing gets muddled. And so we're very fortunate that we have great people that we're working with in our church, that it is very professional, and there is no, taking advantage on one side or the other. The beautiful thing about it is there's grace, but there's also structure and systems in place. And I think that is my definition of being a kingdom business, that I am going to operate with structure and procedure because I have 25 years of budget and logistics. I have two master's degrees. So by no means am I just here riding on a Jesus high with no structure, right? The Bible tells me that things should be decent and in order. So we do have our SOPs, we do have partnership agreements. You should lock those things in and let it be tight, but also knowing that, listen, we're going to have baptism here coming up on Sunday. There's a whole baptism pool situation, right? We probably
Yeah,
have to
I'm glad
consider.
you. I was going to ask about that. That's like a lot. You don't want to like accidentally knock that over.
No, right? So but like I have emails in front of me right now, right? Like, okay, what's the mop? What's the towel situation? What does this look like, right? And I mean, we've done it one time before, right? And so even I would say the grace part of it comes with, listen, you're gonna need to probably set this up the evening before, right? And that's grace, because guess I'm not gonna go nickel and dime the church, right, and say, but I'm going to charge you for this setup time, which I'm probably sure if that was the case, they'd be amenable to it. But that's where the grace part of it comes from me. So I would say it's just understanding, is this a partnership, is this a client, and treating it with the respect and the excellence that it deserves, and that you do need the system still, you do need the structure layered in there. We're just not going to say, hey, we're a people of faith and we act any old way. But and then let me also say this, Bernie, because I actually had um a Muslim group call. This was early in the year, and they wanted a place to host, Iftar, right, on a Friday that was big for the community. And I'm like, yes, sure. Come on in, right? So that's the thing that I do a very good job of making sure that even if you don't necessarily believe the faith journey that I'm on, or you don't ascribe to it, let me say that, that doesn't exclude you, right? It doesn't
Yep.
exclude you. When we say that we are a community of faith and love that looks like, by and large, still having open doors, once it's not like extremely antithetical, right, to what we believe. um, and what I believe is that, people are good. People are good. I'm still a believer, Bernie, that people are good. And that's why I allow myself to lean into connection over convenience, because I need to still believe that the world we live in, that people are good. But how would I know that? How would I see that if I'm in this silo of working, or I'm in a silo of worship because I'm doing it over um, a screen, or through a screen rather, right?
Yep. That's such the Shamina vibe. I really appreciate that. That's the kind of thing I think is really important. And my mum was a teacher and she was a catechist all her life, and she, we were always at church, and there was always we always drive further to the church that had the barbecue after mass. There's not a lot of barbecues going on in on Sundays in England, but there was always like this. We went for the community vibe, and there happened to be a religious ceremony along the way, and there was football teams and youth clubs and barbecues and all this kind of stuff, and it was a huge part of growing up, and you never would have got that on a screen. But I know you have to run and pick up your children now, so we're going to abruptly end and in that mumpreneur moment. But where's the best place people can find you online, Shamena?
Oh, I mean LinkedIn, for sure. Shamena Nurse-Kingsley, Cowo and Crèche, COWOCRECHE. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. On Instagram, Bernie, you should be so proud of me. You know, I shied away from social media, personal social media for so long, but now I'm on Instagram under the Shamena Nurse-Kingsley, and so that's been pretty cool. I'm honestly just treating Instagram like my own personal vlog at this point. That's how old I am, right, Bernie? I'm about to be 45.
A vlogger.
Yeah, I'm a vlogger because I don't know. It's like free therapy, right? For me, that I just like get on there at this point and just say what I'm thinking and then walk away. But
I'm loving it. I really appreciate the way you've embraced the internet 25 years after everybody else. But
dang, Bernie, that was cold. That was cold. You were so shady, and then you pass it off as like dry English humor. But let me tell you, folks, and Bernie, you will not cut this out. Bernie is like shady, like he is palm tree shady. But that's okay. I got you. No problem, Bernie.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move swiftly on to the end of this podcast. I'm going to pretend it's because you need to go and pick up your children, but it's really so I can get out of it. But so ladies and gentlemen, go to the LinkedIn co-working group, and there is 8,000 people, and there's about 700 of you that go in there every week and start commenting and getting involved. It is online, which kind of contradicts the whole point of this podcast, but that is where you can connect and share stories. There's a link to the Actionism film, and we've got 10 co-working spaces so far who are going to show that. And there's a link to Ellie's podcast, which is in the show notes to this one, and it's in the LinkedIn co-working group. And in London, in February, the last week of February, we're going to be doing Unreasonable Connection, going live. It'll be an all-day conversation with people like me and Shamena, or Shamena and I, to use the correct English. And we're having co-working community builders coming together and talking about how to connect with your local area, connect with members in your co-working space, and bring everyone together. And that's it. Wherever you are in the world, be careful out there. It is a jungle. Say goodbye, Shamena.
Bye-bye, folks. Be blessed.